Here is going to be an intro and walkthrough to what we do in my classroom called the What the Animal Project. And I'm sitting here at home on a snow day doing this because I randomly woke up and I don't have a mouse because I'm on a laptop with a touchpad. So this could be terrible, but hey, we're going to make it work. So I've already pre-selected and put out to layer masks some of my items that we're going to use here. I'm going to make some sort of flying pig-bodied something. I still haven't decided yet what it's going to be. So you're here for that ride too. Um, but here we go. So again, I've got my background. I've decided my new environment, which is going to be this nice field. I'm going to use some butterfly wings, something from this caterpillar, maybe the little legs. I haven't really decided. Something from this spider monkey's face, and I left this selection this way for a reason. I'm going to use part of the spotted fish for a pattern, so I just used my marquee selection tool and selected that as a square, and then somewhat this pig, and it was in a bigger picture, and I've cropped it down. So a couple things here. I just wanted to show you I used the marquee selection tool for this one, so I'm going to drag that over as it is. And then the spider monkey, he has kind of hairy ears and stuff. This is a hard one to select. So I did just kind of want to show with this one, when you get into select a mask, it's going to look really rough. You can use this little refine edge brush over areas that have hair. Sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it looks bad. Like that side looks pretty good. This side, not beautiful. So you can kind of just minus if there's areas that look kind of terrible. Remember, it's going to go on a background, so it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, we're going to drag it over to a field of flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and hit on these parts. Oop, that part's not good. Kind of hit on this stuff a little bit so that we have fuzzy, hairy edges. And then anywhere where it looks really bad, I'm just going to minus some of those areas out so it's not quite so bad. The spider monkey picture is apparently rather big. I can tell by the way my mouse is acting right now. Oops, I need to minus that one. Plussing. He's going to have an invisible face, so that's not good. All right. I think we'll call that a day. That's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and output that one to a layer mask. And then we've got that one as well. And again, this one's really big. I'm going to go ahead and resize this image. I know that my main picture is not bigger than 1,000, so I'm just going to resize it to 1,000. Okay, now this is my main picture. And right now, this is actually a really big picture. And if I were to drag my pig over, and in my classroom, I'm going to suggest that you kind of go about this the same way. Take your base picture and drag it over before you start working on this. See, that's kind of little. It's a little bit too little for me. So I'm going to go ahead and crop. Like, I don't need this big, huge field of flowers here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and crop it down. This picture isn't so big. Like maybe that or something. Okay. And then I'm going to resize, because usually I resize to around 1,000 pixels. I mean, I could go a little bigger, like 1,200 or something like that. There. Okay, now I'm going to drag my pig over and see if that helps a little bit. There. And that's a little bit better. You want your animal to be big enough to where you can see everything. I probably could even resize a little bit more, but I've got to still put myself in this picture. So this gives me a place to put myself and a place to put my animal. Oh, by the way, I told you he has butterfly wings, right? So he's going to be a flying pig, because you know when pigs fly and all that good jazz. Okay, so I've got that part in here. Again, I haven't like 100% decided. I'm going to zoom up what I'm going to do with this yet. I have some ideas. I do know I want to put some wings on there. So I'm going to go ahead, and before I pull these over, I find it easiest to crop them down just so you're not bringing over a big empty box. So I'm going to move over my wings, which of course are going to have to get flipped the other direction. I know that from the get-go. So let's bring up the layers panel here, and I'm going to Control T and zoom out so that I can take care of these wings a bit. Now my intention is going to be to give everything kind of some pink to it. I'm going to make my pig pinker. I'm going to make these wings look that way too. All right, right click here and flip horizontal to flip these wings around. I can't even talk the right way. Again, not totally sure how I'm going to go about this part. I may put a wing in front and a wing behind, so I may have to do something with that. But okay, we'll start there. So that's kind of maybe what I'm going to do. If I want to have two of these so I can put one in front and one behind, I'm going to hold down Alt and drag. And then we'll have back wing, which is going to go behind the pig, and front wing, which is going to go in front of the pig, and my pig body, which is going to be between all those. Now, let's move this out of the way here so we can kind of adjust this back wing if I wanted it to go up or whatever. Maybe going that way. And then my front wing kind of be here. Maybe rotate it a bit. However we're going to do that. I'm not going to keep this body of the animal either. I just brought it all in because it just is a little easier to deal with if I bring all the pieces in, because I can always mask out what I don't need. All right. Yeah, I think we're okay here so far. So on my front wing, because I've got a layer mask, I'm going to reset my colors and put black on top and use a brush. And oops, I've got a letter brush. Let's choose a normal brush. Okay, so I'm just going to go with a hard round brush to begin with. That's way too big, so I'm going to use my left bracket to scale that down. And then I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of some of this here. Here we go. This is where you'd have to really make a decision. Like, do I want to feather this or do I want to keep it sharp? You know, I kind of feel like the edges of wings would appear sharp. So in my mind, I'm thinking maybe I'm going to leave that alone for the moment. Okay, let's hop over to Spider Monkey. We'll go ahead and bring this head over here. Again, I like to crop before I pull over, just so things are only the shape that they need to be in. Okay. And then I'll undock my Spider Monkey, grab my Move tool, and drag over. Now, I'll provide the source file for this, so if you want to try this out yourself, just to kind of play with it, then you've got the opportunity to do that. See what I said? The hair and everything, it looks fine once we get it over here on top of this field. So that's going to be all right. Now, I haven't decided whether I want to replace just parts of his face. Oh my, this is fun. I'm kind of digging this monkey head, so I may I may use it in its entirety. I'm kind of loving it right now. But we'll see. Okay, I'm going to size it down just a little bit so his head doesn't look too out of place. Okay. Oh, this is a fun time. All right, let's zoom up so we can see better what's going on. Now, at this point, I have to deal with some issues like, I have like fat pig face going on behind this guy. So I'm going to need to get rid of some of the actual pig head, like that ear's going to show over here and so forth. And I realize that. So let me go ahead and name this monkey head and turn it off for a second, and we'll come back to the pig body. And so at this point, it's like, okay, let's take that layer mask of the pig body and let's just go ahead and get rid of this. We know we don't need it. It doesn't need to be there at all. So I'm just going to kind of get rid of all of that. Okay, and turn on my monkey head. All right, yeah, that fits a little better in there. I don't have any pig pieces that are hanging out. Let's see. I want to rotate that just a little bit. Oh, that's the pig body. Make sure you're always on the right layers when you press Control T. Otherwise, you're going to have the wrong thing lit up. Kind of can't decide. Yeah, let's have him turn his head skewed a little bit. All right. Okay. Good. All right, so we've got that in there. So again, I chose a monkey. His fur color was similar in color to the pig fur, so I thought that would make this project easier. You don't have to do that, but it does make things a little bit easier. Okay, let's go to the caterpillar. Ugh, I just don't know what I want to do with this caterpillar. My initial thought was to use the caterpillar's legs on the bottom of this pig and get rid of the pig's legs. Of course, the pig's got some real fat obesity happening down here at the bottom, so I don't know what this is going to look like. But I'm just going to bring over the whole caterpillar. Let's go ahead and pre-crop a little bit here. Let me rotate my caterpillar around in here in this selection. I don't think I'm going to need those feelers up there, so I'm just going to not get those, or whatever they're called. I don't know a lot about caterpillars. Okay, we'll undock the caterpillar, and Red Rover, send the caterpillar right over. Okay, good times. Put that in there. So let's Control T and go ahead and scale down this caterpillar part, which I think I'm going to use for legs. And I'm making this work hard for myself because they are darker in color than the rest of all this. So this is going to be a challenging one, but that's okay. All right. Probably going to have to rotate that around. All right. Catter legs. Okay. At this point, I'm going to take that layer mask here for my caterpillar. Again, black hides. So I'm going to paint in black, which effectively erases on this thing. That's not going to work for this one as far as I'm not going to be able to keep this with a hard edge because I need to have it sort of blend into the body. So I'm going to switch to a soft brush now. And we're going to go at this so that there's more of a blend going on. Okay. Wow, so far this is looking amazing, huh? All right, so we've kind of got, I like how that lines up there. I don't like that black piece at the bottom, so I'm going to paint it out. Hard brush again because I want to have a sharp edge on the edge of that leg where that leg meets the other leg. So I'm going to use a hard brush here. And really, you should zoom up. I'm kind of familiar with this brush, so I'm not zooming up, but it would be better to zoom up closer when you're doing these. All right, so we've kind of got the blend going on here. I need to fix the front blend a little bit too. Again, back to my soft brush. You can just pull your hardness down right here. Now notice how I'm not like clicking right on the top of it. That just makes it disappear. Hold on, let me switch back to white so I can paint that back in. You want to kind of come at it from the edge, sometimes with like a bigger brush than you need, just to let that side of the brush do the work for you. Okay. It's just kind of a tip. I wish this didn't have this big old piece here. And I could, take my clone brush and fix that, which I may do here in just a second. Actually, I'm going to go for it. Let's just do it. Now, usually we would do this on another layer. I'm just going to use my clone stamp not on another layer. So this is glued together because otherwise it's going to be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to hold down Alt and try to steal from this little leg or whatever that is called. All right, click. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to paint over this dark part. Well, I've got it's such a transparent thing. It's kind of a bit hard to see. Let's try this again. Alt. Click down a little lower. Okay, so here's what's happening. It's actually sampling from my pig layer. I'm going to undo. I'm pressing Control Alt Z and trying to undo here. It's actually sampling from my pig layer. I'm actually going to tell it to only sample from the current layer. So only where the caterpillar legs are. And I'm on my layer mask. Oh, that's why it's really mad. On my layer mask. Okay. Alt click. Don't you just love watching me mess up? It's always fun. All right, there we go. When it was looking at all the layers, it was also looking at the pig, and the pig is behind there. So it was kind of causing some trouble. So, all right, there. See, that looks better. Now we don't have that big, weird little floppy part in there. It's the wrong color, but that's okay. We'll worry about that in a minute. And I could try to clone some of this fur from the pig in there, but I'm not going to at the moment. We're just going to kind of let that go. All right, so we've got all of those pieces, and then the last thing I want to do is add the spotted pattern. Okay. Now I'm going to turn off my wing that's in the front and my head so I can focus in on all of this stuff. And for this matter, I could even hide my caterpillar legs. We're just kind of looking at adding a texture to the top of the pig. So I'm going to take my spotted fish, and I'm just going to take this as a rectangle. That's totally fine. And then I'm going to move it to the pink flower field and drop it in here. Okay. So now I've got this pattern in here. It's on its own layer. I'll call it spots. Going to press Control T on this pattern and right click and choose warp. And what you're going to do is you're going to take these edges and try to make them match more with the shape of your pig so that you get kind of, well, an edge, right? So it matches up. You could turn the opacity down here so you can see through it better like this. All right, so we're just kind of trying to rotate this stuff around so it better fits on the pig body. Remember, parts of this pig body are going to be covered up, so you're not going to see all of this. It's not like it has to be exact. But if we do it this warp way, it's going to look a little more, realistic because the spots kind of turn different directions and stuff. All right. I don't know how far down here my legs go. And I can always, paint out on the mask some of this. I think that's actually looking pretty good. And I honestly like it with the opacity turned down. Like, I might kind of dig it. Let's turn all the stuff back on. Oh, okay. Well, I definitely don't like it in front of my monkey head. So I'm going to add a layer mask right here to this. And I'm going to paint out that pattern off of his face. I don't want him to have those there. So we'll get rid of that in that part. Maybe 2 on the ear. We'll have to kind of see how we're feeling about it. All right, and then obviously we can't have it here, but I'm just going to move the front wing in front of the spots, so that takes care of that problem. Okay. Could decide to have a little more down on those caterpillar legs. So I'm going to turn the legs off for a minute and take another look and see. Turning back on my spots and pressing Control T so I can see where this is. We'll turn back on the warp and see if I can just take some more of these. There we go. Some more of these down this way. All right. I'm going to hit check mark. We'll turn these legs back on. Yeah, see there. That gives me some spots over the legs. So that looks a little better. They don't go all the way over, but I'm not like unhappy with it. This is a weird looking creature that we've got going on here, huh? I do still have some issues with my head here. I need to take a hard brush, though, to fix that issue because my head kind of has a hard edge there. So, okay, so spots, and see my monkey head where there's spots showing through. So I'm going to click on the spots layer. Right here on my monkey head, I have a hard brush. I'm just hitting that with the edge of the hard brush to make sure that there's no spots on his head. Okay. All right. So the last few things, obviously I need to take a picture of myself and put myself in here, would be just to make some color changes to make things look like they belong together a little better. And the first thing I'm going to mess with is my caterpillar legs because they are green and the rest of this pig is not green. So this is where we do adjustment layers. So I've got right here, oh, well, I'll come back to it in a minute, but we also can look at the spots as far as not just opacity, but maybe the blending mode, but I'll come back to it. Okay, so caterpillar legs, I'm going to click here to do an adjustment layer. Gosh, hard to decide which one. I'm going to go hue saturation at the moment. We do want it to only do it to the caterpillar layer, so you're going to click this little button here, which adjusts only that layer. So now it's clipped, and you can see here my hue saturation is pointing to the caterpillar. That means it will only do it to that layer. So back to properties. Now I can start working with this hue. So I want to kind of get it in the pinks and oranges and then pull some of the color out and then probably lighten these legs a little bit. Okay, here we go. And it's the bottom of him, so probably he would have a little bit of, shadow or something underneath there. I could try to go, a little more pink. There, that's a little more pink, isn't it? I think so. All right, yeah. Then you could turn it up and get like really bright pink. You could do that, I guess, and make it look like it's reflecting the flowers on the bottom. I don't hate that. I think I am going to leave a little pink. All right, there we go. So I've turned my green into kind of a pinkish color. It matches some of the colors in the little spider monkey's head. I think I'm good with that. Okay, let's do the same thing with the wing. So let's go to the front wing. I'm going to add the hue saturation adjustment layer, and I'm going to clip it so it only does it to the front wing. And we'll just see what kind of hue shifts we can do. Ooh, I like the pink, but maybe not quite that bright of a pink, so I'll pull the saturation down. Yeah, I think I like that. Kind of fits the color system I've got going on there. Pull it back a little bit more. Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, and now I need a copy of this because I've got another wing that's kind of that same color. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to right click and duplicate this layer. Hue saturation 2 copy. Sure, that's fine. And then we're going to drag this one to the back wing layer. Now I'm going to have to make sure this one points to the back wing layer because you notice it just changed my entire picture color. Uh-oh. So I'm just going to right click in the white space over here and create a clipping mask, which makes it only go to that back wing. All right. Guys, we're literally almost finished with this. I'm super proud of it. Now, there are some things that I would do as finishing touches, and I'm not going to take time because this video is already at 20 minutes to do. One of those things would be to take maybe some of these flowers that are in the front, like this flower right here. I would probably move that on a layer in front of my animal to make him look like he's actually flying in there a little bit. So I would probably do that as sort of a finishing touch. And then, of course, I got to put my person over here on the other side, and then I'll put these flowers in front of her just so it looks like I'm actually in the field with him. One other thing to look at is for your spots. I have them just with an opacity turned down. You could mess around with them a little bit with regards to these blending modes. So overlay tends to be the best. See here on the overlay blending mode, we'll switch it back to normal. See how the levels of the hairs are going to be a little more noticeable on overlay. Just watch it while I switch. There. See how we lost that line that was right there? So when I have the opacity, let's look at it one more time. I'm going to switch it back to normal. Watch that line over there that I was pointing to. See that line from where the spots came from? If I switch this to overlay, I lose that line. It blends in better. And now the dots aren't as bright, but I can pull the opacity up some more. Ooh, yeah, I like that. And then that looks better. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So the blending modes are good. Overlay's kind of my go-to on this kind of a project. Lighten is going to like lighten and you can barely see it. So I can see it in the darker areas. And then the multiply is a darken one. So like the whole thing gets darker and you're going to have to go and touch up with a soft brush if you do that. So I'm sticking with overlay. You could do soft light too. That's another common one that isn't as noticeable. But yeah, okay. I'm going with this, folks. Hopefully you've hung with me long enough to get all of this. The only thing that is going to bother me a little bit is these butterfly wings are just so much darker than everything else. So I might do a levels adjustment on this face so that the face has darker elements. So I'll go to monkey's head and click on the adjustment, and I'm going to go to levels this time. Remember, I wanted to only do the monkey head, so I have to click the clipping mask button here. All right, now I'm going to pull this black slider, not this one, and that's going to make the blacks darker. Okay, see, so now he's got a darker head. Now he's gotten a little bit too much color in the middle, so I'm going to pull this other one up. There we go. There. See, I think that looks better because now the eyes are as dark as some of this butterfly business. So, see, here's before. See how it's kind of faded? And then after, it's a little bit darker. And I can still click on this little moon and come back in here and make some additional adjustments to it if I wanted to. Maybe I'll make it just a little bit darker. Yeah, there's before and there's after. Yeah, that does look better. So there you go, folks. I have walked you through a fantasy animal project. And again, I'll provide this PSD file with all of the pieces already drug over. And then you just go in and add the layer masks and do the blending and the colors and all of that. And that way you can just try it out for yourself. And let me know if you have any questions. So good luck.